you found success first with forming the band Traffic that came out of the UK in the 60s. Was it a matter of being in the right place at the right time, or what do you think the magic of that band actually was?
Well, well, I mean, I think the real magic of it was, unfortunately, part of the thing that broke it up in the end, i.e., as far as the four of us, and that was though we all shared a love of a lot of similar music. The differences is what made things, I think, as strong as it was. So, yeah, I mean, it was a great little combo, but it was not for me to finish up being there in the end. So.
And of course, then you moved on, and as a session musician, you've played and recorded with so many notable pop and rock musicians. I mean, the list is even too long to put out there. You were a very good friend of Jimi Hendrix.
I did get to spend time with him, fortunately, very lucky, and finished up through that recording on Electric Ladyland, playing acoustic guitar on All Along the Watchtower, actually singing on Crosstown Traffic. And then there's about 3 or 4 tracks of me playing bass and sitar that we did, that I'm not sure what happened, though I think a couple of them are sort of, I think, escaped, and I've heard recently. So, but yeah, Hendrix was something.
He was indeed. Of all the long list of people that you've played with, do you have your favourites?
Oh God, I mean, they're all. To pick out any one would be. They're all. I've been fortunate in having made music with some, each in their own way. The great best of what that had to offer. So to pick any one is kind of. I mean, of any, of course, for me as a guitar player, I have to pick the time with Hendrix. I know he was also so unique and innovative, as well as being a great guitar player. So that was, that one would have to stand out. But there's some great people I've been fortunate to work with.
Yeah, indeed. And you've contributed greatly to their music. Were you always destined to be a musician?
When I was at school, my dream was to be in the Royal Air Force when I was 13, 14.
And what happened 15. To that?
Nah, my math skills are just not and not the best. So there was not. I was never going to get through the exams. It wasn't going to happen.
So were you playing music at the time, or you developed the love of that as a result of quitting that Air Force?
No, I don't know. I mean, part of it, I guess, was just, it was that time, I mean, I'm part of that era where it all sort of more or less started in the 50s. Rock and roll.
Does it make you feel old?
Well, in terms of years, I am old. But in terms of, I don't know. I don't think it makes me feel old. Old is, I mean, there's great stuff. There's great stuff that was done. I mean, I'm glad that I'm from that period. I mean, I'm from, when it more or less started. Yeah,
absolutely. And so much has come out of that period, hasn't it? It really was the whole pioneer of a whole new era of music that's still being copied till today.
Well, yeah. I mean, there isn't any old music to me. There's just either good music or it isn't. So, I don't see it in those terms.
Well, I think you should be very proud that you were part of that era, not only part of that era, but a leader in that era, because you've given the world such fantastic music. You're best known for that song, Feelin Alright, which you wrote back in 1968. But you also wrote Hole in My Shoe for Traffic, which was a huge success too, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yes, that was the first song I ever wrote, and that was their biggest hit single. Uh, went to excuse me, number two. It went to Engelbert Humperdinck kept it from number one.
Did he? And
Yeah,
what did you write it about? Did you actually have a hole in your shoe?
you know, it was it it, it it's the first. Believe it or not, it's the first song I'd ever written. I.e., myself just wrote the whole thing, and it was very much of the time, and it was very much a studio record. In other words, it was not. It was not something you were going to easily pull off live at the time. Today you could with with what you have available, but back then, so it was you know it, it was what it was, and it turned out to be a big hit record. Um, so yeah.
It was it was huge. So, did you know that you had talent in songwriting? I mean, you obviously knew that you didn't have talent in mathematics, but did you know that you were a good songwriter?
I didn't know. I just, you know, I mean, I was 19, 20 years old. What you think you know everything, but you don't, you know.
And
uh-uh.
and what
So
about?
I'm just trying, you know. Because I didn't know. I mean, the great part about when you're that age is that because you know you don't know what not to do, you know, it pushes the boundaries. So you sometimes come up with great stuff. So that's basically where it was at for me. I had to
And what
find out what it could do. I was just,
playing,
you know,
mucking around?
right, exactly.
Right, that's awesome. What about Feeling All Right? How did that one come about?
Well, that was when I had written some of those songs on the first Traffic album, which they were rather, you know, it's like, oh my God, if I'm going to write, I need to I need some kind of life experience because me, you know, I have like zero. I'm from upper middle class family from the heartland of England. So, you know, my street smarts were zip and zero. So if you're writing songs, you're writing about life. You're gonna, you know. So I don't know. I just decided to take some time off and really kind of sort of think about some things. I actually went to Greece, to the island of Hydra, and that's where I wrote "Feelin' Alright." "Feelin' Alright" is basically a love song. I mean, it's an unrequited love song, is all it is.
I saw a documentary recently about Leonard Cohen spending all that time on Hydra. That was the island to
Yeah,
be on.
yeah. Well, it was. When I say island, it was an island. It was it's just a little port, and yeah, it was. I went with a little bag and a guitar.
Oh, very nice. Gosh.
Interesting.
Yeah, the times have certainly changed, haven't they? You wouldn't be doing music like that again. In fact, you you've released this week coming out is a compilation called Alone Together Again. Can you tell me a little bit about that? That's pretty exciting.
Well, no, it officially comes out November 5th. And Alone Together Again, I just redid my very first solo album, which in the U.S. was huge. Um, and so it's 50 years later, but part of it is I just sort of started re-recording it, redoing it. I was kind of more or less for my own amusement um, in the beginning.
Has that been
So
a COVID baby?
I'm sorry.
Has it been a COVID project for you?
It's sort of on and off. I mean, I started doing it over 10 years ago, pretty much. So and then it just developed into, well, it's the 50-year anniversary. So um, let's, I'm going to put it back together again. But so it's the Alone Together album redone. There's a few things on there that I think are better. There's a song in there that's totally rearranged into a more contemporary form. But the packaging is the same, which had this multicolored album on it. In fact, it's going to be exactly like this. There's the CD.
Ah, okay.
There's the CD, and there's the little
Awesome.
little jacket thing for you for the CD. Then it'll all be. Also, I'm doing an original vinyl, which then
Is
of course
it?
everyone.
Does it? Does it? Does it amaze you that vinyl's made such a comeback?
Um, yeah, I mean, yes and no, I suppose. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's great. I think that's fantastic. I mean, people, some people, you need to be tactile with stuff. It's just the internet's great and all that stuff, but somewhere you need to actually get out there and touch it and see it, feel it. So I think people like that. And there is for people, especially audiophiles and those people that are, there is a difference audio wise, analog.
Yeah. It seems to be quite a fashionable thing to be doing, to be reimagining old albums and putting them out again, and they're being met with huge success, both with the old original audiences as well as new ones.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't really, think. I mean, redoing my album. I mean, I had no idea who else or what else does that. It happened that Cat Stevens, I guess, did the same thing coincidentally. So who knows? We'll see. Hopefully there'll be some new fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully maybe there'll be people will buy it over there in Australia.
For
It's right
sure they
here.
will. We have
Come
lots of
DaveMasonMusic.com is where you can pre-order it, and then I can come over there and play.
Oh,
And do
we'd
a
love to.
concert.
We would love to see you here. Walk me through a couple of your favorite tracks from this new one.
I'm never it's in my bucket list to come over
You've
and
never been to
play.
Australia?
No, no,
Ah,
no.
well, you'll have to put that on the list for next year for sure. You've got a multitude of fans here.
You need to start the campaign for me.
Okay, you're on. I can do that. Dave, tell me which are your favorite tracks on this album. I know choosing favorite tracks is like choosing between children.
Yeah, yeah.
Which one are you most proud of?
Well, that's like you said. That's like picking, the kids thing. You can't really. It's. I think other than I mean, because what I'm doing is for the most part on this album redoing as authentically as possible what I did, but with some variational changes. A couple of them are one song is a major difference. It's totally different from the original,
Which one's that?
which is World in Changes. It's totally new the way I've done it from the way I originally did it.
Why did you
Sad,
change that up?
well, I did that like a while back, just to play around with my songs, and and I just love the version. It came out great, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, probably some people are going, well, it's not like the original one, but it's like, no, but I want something in here that song-wise will still work and still be great, but will be just different. You can always get the other version. In fact, when you buy the CD or the album, the original version redone comes as a free download, so you get it anyway if you want. But I just wanted something different. The other song is "Sad and Deep as You." To me, is so much better than the original way,
Ah,
especially that song.
are you getting better with age?
Like a fine wine.
That's great. I love it. And are you still writing?
Sometimes it comes and goes.
So do you find yourself a bit, I mean, having completed this project now and we have to kind of wait out COVID, do you find yourself a bit bored and getting itchy feet wanting to do something?
Well, to be honest with you, let's see, I've been on the road pretty much since I was 22, and I'm 74, so I could frankly use the time off.
You don't look like somebody who's ready to put your feet up and retire, though.
Well, no. I mean, no. I don't want to do that, but I could use the break.
Well, you seem to be using it very well. Dave Mason, thank you so much for chatting with me. It's been an absolute pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dave. Bye now.